Imagine living in a country where price tags barely move for decades, where 100 yen isn't a meme, it's a real price point people expect, and where a tiny increase, even 10 yen, can feel like a big deal. So, how does that happen, right, in a rich country? Why did Japan spend so long in a world where prices just didn't rise? Today, Japan has seen more noticeable price increases, especially since 2022. But the real mystery is the long stretch before that, roughly 25 to 30 years where inflation was weak. And sometimes Japan even had deflation when prices fall. And there isn't one magic reason. It's a system held together by three forces: weak demand, weak wage growth, and a national expectation that prices in Japan don't go up. In the late 80s, Japan built one of the biggest asset bubbles in modern history. Then it popped, and the economy entered what people call the lost decades. When households and companies lose confidence, they do something simple: they hold back. Businesses avoid a risk, and they avoid raising prices because they fear losing customers. Consumers delay spending because maybe it'll be cheaper later. That creates a deflation loop: weak demand, no pricing power, profits get squeezed, wages stay flat, demand stays weak. Now, the most Japan-specific part: over time, companies basically train themselves to avoid price increases. Instead of raising the sticker price, they do things like a shrinking portion, changing the packaging, cutting costs, and releasing a new version while keeping the headline price point. That's why hidden inflation became such a big thing, because customers are extremely sensitive to visible price hikes. And after years of low inflation, prices become sticky. If everyone holds the line, being the first company to raise prices feels risky. Let me give you a perfect real-life example. In 2016, a famous Japanese ice pop brand called Garigari-kun raised its price from 60 yen to 70 yen. That's a 10 yen increase, about 9 cents. And what did a company do? They didn't just quietly change the price. They ran a full 60-second TV commercial where the staff publicly apologized, bowing on camera, basically saying, "We held on as long as we could, but we can't anymore." That story sounds like a joke in most countries, but in Japan, it perfectly shows how deep the expectation was. Raising prices wasn't just business, it was a social event. Long-run inflation usually needs one fuel source: wage growth. And for years, Japan's base wages moved slowly. Businesses stayed cautious, and a bigger share of jobs shifted into more flexible, lower growth categories. If wages are flat, companies can't push prices up forever. People simply can't afford it. So prices stay restrained, and the whole system reinforces itself. Another underrated factor: aging society. In an older population, spending tends to be more careful, more saving, more focused on security, less aggressive consumption. That doesn't automatically create deflation, but it makes demand harder to ignite. So here's the obvious question. Japan had ultra-low rates and massive stimulus for years. Why didn't inflation explode? Because inflation isn't only money. It's also expectations. If people expect stable prices, they behave like inflation doesn't exist. Companies avoid hikes, workers don't demand big raises, and everything resets back to flat. In Japan, expectations stayed anchored for a long time. People looked at yesterday and assumed tomorrow would feel the same. Now the shift. After 2022, Japan got hit by forces that break the old habit: higher import costs, a weaker yen, global inflation shocks. That's cost-push inflation. When inputs get expensive, the companies can't absorb it forever. And in recent years, Japan also saw stronger wage momentum, which helps turn a one-time shock into a more sustained price cycle. Here's the twist. Prices don't rise, sounds like paradise. But if wages don't rise either, it's not paradise. It's stagnation. Japan paid for stable price tags with a cautious economy. Less risk, less growth, less momentum. And the real question now is different. If prices rise, will real incomes rise faster? Because otherwise, it's not a healthy exit from deflation. It's pressure on living standards. So what's the solution? Because Japan doesn't just need prices to rise. It needs something harder, healthy inflation, the kind that comes with higher paycheck, not just higher bills. And Japan actually has a few levers. Some are already moving, and others are still stuck in slow motion. At first, it's wages. For decades, companies protected stability more than growth. They kept cash, they avoided raising base pay, and they relied on bonuses instead. But the real fix is boring and brutal. Raise base wages, not just one-time bonuses. Because bonuses don't change how people spend. Base pay does. And lately, Japan has been trying to push that direction with wage talks, then a pressure on the big firms, but a clear message is, if prices rise, wages have to follow, or the whole thing breaks. Second, productivity. Japan has world-class companies, but also a long tail of small businesses that run on thin margins, old systems, and low efficiency. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If a business can't raise prices and can't raise wages, it usually means it can't raise productivity. So Japan's real battle is modernizing that part of the economy. Digital tools, automation, better management, better competition. Not as a slogan, but as survival. Third way to solution, the labor market. Japan has a split system, insiders with strong protection and outsiders with weaker pay growth. If you want wages to rise across the country, you need workers to move to better paying jobs faster, and you need companies to compete for talent. That means training, switching jobs without stigma, and making career mobility normal. Because when workers can move, wages can't stay frozen. Fourth, expectations. This is the most psychological part. Japan spent decades believing prices don't go up here. So even when costs rose, businesses hesitated, and even when the economy improved, people stayed cautious. The real shift happens when everyone starts acting differently, companies stop fearing price hikes, and workers stop fearing wage demands. That's how a deflation mindset dies. And finally, the central bank. Japan's policy has been ultra loose for a long time, but the end goal was never inflation at any cost. It was always a stable cycle. Wages rise, spending rises, prices rise modestly, and real living standards don't get crushed. That's the tightrope Japan is walking right now. So here's the bottom line. Japan's problem wasn't prices didn't rise. Japan's problem was nothing moved. And the solution isn't one miracle policy. It's a reset of the whole engine, wages that actually grow, productivity that supports them, a labor market that rewards, and a society that stops treating price changes like a scandal. Because if Japan can pull that off, it won't just escape deflation. It'll prove something bigger. A rich country can restart its economy without breaking its people.